back. How we doing? Ariana, what's up? Welcome in. How we doing, guys? How we doing? We are now live on both, and boy, do we have some shit to talk about. I do want to say thank you guys for allowing me to have the weekend to myself. Lily Spot, welcome back in. I needed it. I needed it because, well, I needed it. Just so you know, we are still Penelope free since like Thursday. So bear with me. What's going on? What isn't going on at this point? Once we get a couple more people in here, let's try to get to 100 likes. Dr. Love, what's up? Welcome in. Oh, God. Aaron Parnish just got online, so apparently some more bad news is happening. Daniel, hello. The first thing I saw this morning, I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, is basically Schumer was being asked about the government shutdown. This was in an interview on CNN with Jake Tapper. And he was asked, Jake Tapper pretty much brought up, like, hey, even with this partial government shutdown, DHS is still funded throughout the year. So, like, what are you going to do? And basically, Schumer said that, he doesn't understand why Republicans don't choose common sense policies because it's common sense. Let's talk about the Republicans that he's expecting to choose, right? What's up, Ryan? Welcome in. Well, we'll start first with Moses Mike, who literally said, and has said multiple times in interviews, that God came to him in his sleep and told him he was Moses. Doesn't seem like common sense. Kristi Noem, Secretary of DHS, she didn't even know in an oversight hearing the definition of habeas corpus, which if you don't know that, I'm not shaming you. You're not in charge of the Department of Homeland Security. But if you are curious, it is the constitutional legal protection that allows a person who is detained to challenge the legality of their detention before a court. Now, Noam said this was the constitutional right of a president to remove people from the country, which obviously isn't true. Brian, thank you for being over on YouTube as well. Um, so again, not common sense. Trump, most recently, revoked EPA scientific basis for climate policy. That's not common sense. RFK Jr., we know he swims in contaminated water, admits to doing, or we'll say admits to going skiing off of toilet seats, says he has a brain worm, and admitted to doing H to get through college. Also, not common sense. And don't worry, guys, this is the lack of common sense isn't just on Republicans, no, it's on Democrats as well, like Schumer and Jeffries. Their refusal to endorse Mamdani. They still don't really endorse him, by the way. Let's see, all of their strongly worded letters. None of that's really common sense. And also the fact that Schumer is counting on the GOP or questioning why they don't choose common sense is kind of lacking common sense itself. So, what the fuck? What in the actual fuck? But how's everybody doing this Monday? That's just one of the first things we're going to talk about. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Let's see. Dr. Love said they are all part of the triad of personality disorders. None of them are without one. You know what? You're not wrong. You're really not wrong. But here's the thing. I don't want to stigmatize personality disorders, but I do want to point out that if they are representations of those personality disorders, it's because they are untreated. Untreated. That is what we're seeing. Well, first, one, no. What? He would have to run, or he would have to be elected for a third term in order to run for a fourth, and that's obviously not allowed. I just want to see how they, oh shit, hold on, sorry guys, how they crash before my country's right wing try to copy them. What? Wait, what country are you from, Gabriel? I'm trying to approve it. Mods, if you can you try to approve Gabriel's comment? I do see it, it's just not letting me approve it right now. But guys, we are at 1,000 likes. As you know, Brazil. Well, I mean, they're crashing out pretty hard right now. They are crashing out pretty hard right now. And Ryan, thank you so much. We hit 1,000. I am still Penelope free. I'm trying to get through the end of the week with no Penelope. Because it'll be about a 7-day break. I think that's good. But I do have my bar, so we're gonna do that really quick. But Quabo, I think it would be unconstitutional for him to run for a third term. Tea break for sure. Tea break for sure. Um, let's see if we can get like 10 people in here. I'm trying to kind of wait because Elon Musk tweeted something And I want to do a real big fucking breakdown on it because if this person has not proven they are already the most YT supremacist I've ever met or ever witnessed, not ever met, because thankfully I have not met him, but it was just audacious. Oh, the muskrat is just a disaster. Definitely is a disaster. But you know what? We're already at 2K. Why don't I just get into it? I don't know if they're going to push out my stuff. I haven't posted in a few days, so hit the like button, hit the shares. I do appreciate you guys, but we'll see. So let me actually pull up the tweet because we're going to break this down line by line, baby. And I don't know if I can read what I wrote because I was in a fury, but we're going to try it. And sorry, over on YouTube, I don't have it pulled up. I apologize, but I will read it line by line. Let's see here. Effects, boom, and there we go. So he said, for a country to survive, there has to be a common culture. Nobody, DIES, to defend a multicultural economic zone. American culture, with its English, Scots, Irish origin, is great and worth fighting for. Some may not realize it, but that's why people come here. Now, this in and of itself is ridiculous and hypocritical. So let's start with the first line, shall we? For a country to survive, there has to be a common culture. Well, the thing is that we do have a common culture here in America, and that common culture is multiculturalism. It always has been since the fucking beginning, which is crazy. I mean, our common thread isn't and should have never been based on ethnicity. It's based on shared rights, laws, and the ability for different cultures to coexist under one system. Plain and fucking simple, but apparently not to a genius. I mean, that's the American model, and they just keep acting like we didn't grow up on this symbolism that America is the melting pot, and that through the more diverse we are, the stronger we are. This second one, nobody DIES to defend a multicultural economic zone. Well, first of all, as someone who has never served in any type of military, to my knowledge, who the fuck are you to decide the reasons that people defend their country? Because as a veteran, I can politely say, fuck you. Um, I mean, it's just an inherently false statement in general, and history proves it. People, those that serve for the country and die for the country, we do it to defend the Constitution. The Constitution does not speak about different ethnicities. It never has. It speaks about Americans, which, by the way, he is a South African immigrant, but he is still considered a naturalized citizen, so he is an American, as he advocates against that shit. It makes no fucking sense. I mean, non-citizens are allowed to serve in the US, and many people in past and current times serve their country, and that helps them with a more secure path for citizenship. So again, how fucking dare he? Let's see what else. Um, and I think just history has shown us, that those serving absolutely defend a multicultural America, because why else would immigrants fight for a country that doesn't fight for them? It doesn't make sense. He's also not English, Scottish, or Irish, so Well, speaking of that part, Dr. Love, that's number 3. American culture, with its English, Scots, Irish origin, is great and worth fighting for. Well, first of all, we know we weren't the first ones here, but he spotted out Irish, and as an Irish Italian, or someone with Irish Italian heritage, let's remember that when the Irish arrived here, they were met with violent anti-Catholic riots. Businesses displayed signs that said, Irish, no need to apply, meaning they weren't welcome there. There were political cartoons that depicted Irish as subhuman and animals. They were blamed for crime, poverty, moral decay. They had to live in certain places, and they were told that they weren't white enough. Yet he put them right there. Kind of odd. Let's talk about the indigenous nations that existed before the white man came over. Because before we were here, they already had established sovereign tribal nations. When we came, what followed were forced removals, broken treaties, Trail of Tears. They even had boarding schools designed to eliminate tribal language and culture. What's up, Joey? It's nice to see you. Then let's go to Black Americans who were brought here enslaved. They were kidnapped, trafficked, and forced into centuries of slavery. Yet they were the ones that contributed the most to building early American wealth through things like cotton, tobacco, and building infrastructure. And this was all through unpaid labor. And even after they attained freedom, they still had to deal with disenfranchisement. They still had to deal with segregation. They still had to deal with redlining and all of the other things they had to deal with, right? And yet their culture is foundational to American music, language, politics, and American identity. Italians. If you didn't know, New Orleans actually had the largest recorded lynching in American history, and it was Italians. It was 11, I believe. When Italians first came here, they're not considered fully white either. They were segregated into ethnic enclaves. They were denied jobs, targeted again in crime panics, stereotyped as inherently criminal or inferior. What's up, Dirty Bad? I see you in here. Hello, hello. Asian immigrants. Don't forget about the Chinese Exclusion Act, Japanese immigration restrictions, and the internment camps of World War II. Our Jewish Americans. They had immigration quotas, university caps, housing discrimination, and they were barred initially from attending elite universities. Germans during World War I, if you were a German American, you were banned to speak German in schools, and communities were pressured to leave their identities. So, how the fuck is Elon Musk, who is from South Africa, who is an immigrant, how dare he speak on American history when he either doesn't know America's true fucking history or he chooses to fucking ignore it? It makes no sense. And it's enraging. It is absolutely enraging that someone who has done not one but two sick Hiles, someone who has leaked their own messages saying that he wanted a legion of children, someone who claims to be a pronatalist, and we've already talked about how pronatalism is really just white supremacy when you bring up the fact that immigration could cure the birthing crisis in terms of the economic workforce. What the fuck? But he's still not considered racist. Bullshit. Bull fucking shit. And guys, let me change it back. Oh, I'm trying to send this out to someone. I don't know why. Give me 1 second, guys. We're gonna change it back to the regular background. I just wanted you guys to see that for yourselves. Um, but like, I just don't fucking get it. I just don't fucking understand. And guys, if you are new here, welcome to Red, White, and WTF. I'm Dana, and my political beliefs aren't all that political. I just think that people should be able to do whatever the fuck they want, as long as it does not harm or unalive anyone or anything, or impede on or take away the rights of others. I also think that food, housing, education, healthcare should all be affordable and accessible. That shit's not radical at all. It just means that if we work hard, we should be able to live comfortably. We shouldn't have to pick between groceries and medication refills. You can't talk about independent financial responsibility and say things like, oh, people need to pick themselves up by the bootstraps if they can't afford fucking boots. It's in fucking insane. And we have the poorest of Americans who are fucking brainwashed at this point defending billionaires. But guys, we are at 5K and I've been talking a lot, so I'm going to go visit with, I guess, my geek, and I'll be right back. Hit that follow button, guys, if you haven't already. But because I've already told you guys, for 2026, they may try to go after our rights. They may try to go after our freedoms. They may try to go after our bodily autonomy. They may try to go after our right to vote. One thing they're not going to touch is our fucking joy. And if you need just a smidge of joy today, let me tell you something. So there was a private owner in Dallas, Texas, in Dallas County. It is Majestic Realty Company. They own a 1 million square foot mega warehouse, and they are currently refusing, and I hope they stand. They are currently refusing to buy or lease to DHS. Thank you so much, Flowers, for the follow. So if you need a little bit, of joy, some people are taking a stand because a 1 million square foot warehouse, they just turned down a fuck ton of money. And thank goodness for that. All these warehouses for what? That's they want to make them these frozen water mega detention centers. There's a $38 billion bill where they want to procure, I think it's 16 more mega warehouses, aka concentration camps. And some people are finally saying no. Yeah, absolutely. Denise, absolutely. 20, like, it's it's crazy. It's fucking crazy, guys. But that's where we are in America right now. But if you need a little bit more joy in your life, because it is Monday, because it's President's Day, where that dipshit who literally shits himself tried to say he was a better president than Washington and Abraham Lincoln, I'll give you a little bit more. JP, come on. Come on, Poppy. Come on. Here you go. Here you go, buddy. Here you go. Tommy, what's up? Welcome in. Um, Speaking of, wait, hold on. And I've gone to protest. I'm glad you've gone to protest. I mean, alternatively, we can let China kick our ass in the AI race. Who the fuck cares about AI? It's so harmful to the fucking environment. It is so harmful. Here in California, and I love where I live, don't get me wrong, but they want to charge gas stations and shit $1,000 per plastic bag they give out if they give out plastic bags because they're all for the environment. Yet we have AI centers here and they're doing nothing to combat that. What's up, Bernie? Why am I so negative? Well, you say I'm negative. I'm just reading news articles. I actually just gave a very positive one, and I showed you my dog, so that's not really negative. We're being realist. And if the realism is negative, that's not my fault. It's coming. You're either in front or behind. But if it's fucking AI, who cares? Who gives a shit? You know what, TJ? I'm going to give you some positive constructive criticism. And it's when you're going to insult someone, maybe use the correct form of your. Maybe. Anyways, someone in the comments brought up that these detention centers could be for US citizens. And if you don't believe that, let me tell you what happened next. In response to administrative subpoenas, not judicial, and if you didn't know the difference, a judicial is signed by a judge, an administration is signed within DHS. In response to administrative subpoenas from DHS, major tech companies, including Google, Meta, Reddit, and believe it or not, Discord, provided subscriber data such as names, email addresses, phone numbers, and IP logs for accounts that track or criticize frozen water. That's a surveillance state. That's a surveillance state. But speaking, if you want me to say something positive about AI, I can. Because although I don't agree with AI, Anthropic, which is an AI company, has actually pushed back and said no, because that is definition domestic surveillance and could be used for autonomous weapons. The Trump regime, in light of this, is trying to threaten to label the company as a supply chain risk in effort to pressure vendors who cut ties. Denise said this has been in the works since the 1970s by the conservatives and the Heritage Foundation. It absolutely has. Let's not forget that the one in the top elected fucking seat in this country lied and said he had never heard of the Heritage Foundation when we know that was a lie because back in, it was either 2016 or 2018, the National Prayer Breakfast put on by the Heritage Foundation. He spoke there. So that's a lie. Real Quiet says, -1. The guy is MAGA who doesn't know the difference between you and your. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, Real Quiet. Absolutely. Lindsey Graham, I don't know if you guys have heard, but oh Ladybug, and if you don't know what Ladybug is, in the I don't know how to say this. I have to say it in certain ways that respect guidelines. In a certain type of workers sort of escort-esque community, they actually call Lindsey Graham Ladybug Graham because of all the moles on his ass. Anyways, so he spoke from Israel and literally said that American casualties, as he speaks, not from America, from Israel, said that American casualties would be an acceptable risk in pursuit of regime change in Iran. What? I'm sorry, what? I am so sick of all of these motherfuckers who have never served a day in their fucking life, and I say this as a veteran if you are new here, trying to say that you think it's an acceptable risk for Americans to lose their lives over shit we shouldn't be involved in at fucking all. It's fucking crazy. But don't worry, we here, it's not a left versus a right channel, guys. This is a power versus the people, and I think we can all agree that the power has its boot on the people's neck. Jeffries also flopped on the Joy Reid show a couple days ago. He was asked if frozen water should be abolished, and he said no. Pretty petty correcting grammar. You guys are really bored with life. Well, Yankee made. What? Like your name doesn't even make sense for the argument you're giving, but okay, sorry you feel that way. Goodbye. Um, but Jeffries actually flopped, and when asked if frozen water should be abolished, he said no. He said no. He was also asked the following question, and this was after he yelled at someone. Fucking went crazy. And you can it was 3 days ago, I believe, if you want to go watch it on YouTube. Um, he also said he wouldn't stop accepting APAC money. Yeah. So let's be very frank. The fact that Americans say that frozen water should be abolished, that is a moderate stance. It's a moderate stance. And Hakeem Jeffries can't even get behind that. Exactly. He can get the fuck out of here if he's bored. Bye, Felicia. Exactly. Exactly. Jolena, hello. It's nice to see you. It is nice to see you. Um, when I mean, I've seen Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer flop like a fucking fish out of water this whole administration and before then, but like, come on, bro. Even if you don't do it, you can't at least say it? Really? This is after Chuck Schumer said that he would do, I played the video for you guys, would do whatever it takes to get Israel the funding they need and deserve. Yeah, he said that. And that's why this isn't left or right. They're all up here. They're all being fucking crazy. Thank you so much for the rose real quiet. I appreciate it. But yeah, this shit's crazy. Sorry I've been MIA a few days, but so happy to see you. Happy Monday, everyone. Well, Jolena, I've been MIA as well. I took the weekend. I didn't post. I didn't go live. I needed some time to myself, and I think that was for the best, honestly. But is there anything I haven't talked about in these 22 minutes that you guys would like to talk about? I'll head over to ground news, but feel free to put in the comments. We are almost at 10,000. When we do, we'll take over, a break to the side real quick. Hit him with a shut your bitch ass up. My weekend was Friday. I went out after, and we ended up at a strip club where I spent far too much money to be there only an hour. But, it was fun. Saturday, I kind of had a day to myself. I was flaring a little bit because it had just been long, long days. Yesterday, I saw some friends for a little bit. Today, we cleaned a bit, was able to do a little bit of research for you guys because if you didn't know, I know most of you do. I like actually like go and like write this shit out. Like when I have time, we definitely write it out because what's happening right now is it's crazy. I mean, the Trump administration, despite the Transparency Act that passed, says they're not going to put out any more of the files. That's crazy. You are 100%, sweetheart. We try, we try. Um, it's just, and I encourage you guys, if you're overwhelmed, take the fucking break. I know people want to say that's part of privilege, but like, even with your coworkers, when they're burnt out, it's better to have to make up for their work for a day or two than them working burnt out, not at full capacity for months on end, and then they're out for like a month on like FMLA or something. You know what I mean? Dr. Love, you said so they really do not care. I don't think they give a fuck about us. They don't give a fuck about us. They don't give a fuck about the victims. I mean, we saw through fucking Pam Bondi's atrocious hearing. They do not care. And if you didn't see her lack of empathy, I'll show it to you here. Give me 1 second, guys. It doesn't show up great, but that is that's apathy. And if you don't know the reference of this photo, during the hearing, survivors were asked if they felt comfortable to self-identify, and they were asked a series of questions. And in that series of questions, they were asked, had the DOJ raise your hand if you had not heard or been contacted by the DOJ? Boom. Raise your hand if you had contacted the DOJ. Boom. And then Bondi was asked if she would apologize for the mishandling of the release of the files, given that they protected the perpetrators more than those that are victims, and also the fact that these ladies have tried to be interviewed and they wouldn't do it. That's the look she gave. That's the look she gave. Michael Jackson did say they don't care about us. And man, did that man get such a bad rap. He really did. It's honestly a fucking shame. It's honestly a shame. But let me go back to the Oh, wait, no, that's from Friday. Sorry, guys, wrong picture. There we go. But yeah, they don't care. They don't give a shit about us. And they've proven it. And it's people on both fucking sides. I mean, not to mention the fact, I mean, Marco Rubio, let's not forget, Little Marco, which is what the president calls him. It's not me giving a demeaning name. He literally calls him Little Marco to demean him. Um, that was a unanimous confirmation. Unanimous, which means Democrats and Republicans alike. Let's not forget that all of the judges that went forward, that were asked who won the 2020 election, they refused to answer, yet they were still appointed to lifelong appointments, which should never be a thing. I don't care if they're Democratic appointees. I don't care if they're Republican appointees. No public servant that is an elected or appointed position such as that, especially those with no oversight, should ever have a fucking lifelong appointment. Ever. Plain and fucking simple. Um, let's see. Rubio says US and Europe belong together. Ooh, okay. But warns allies to defend themselves at Munich conference. I'm going to read this more because that doesn't make sense. It says at the Munich, and you guys know I use Ground News. I'm not sponsored. I would take a sponsorship, and all I want is the Vantage plan each year. You don't have to pay me. Just give me the Vantage plan. And if you're unfamiliar with Ground News, they have domestic and international sources, left, right, center, and they rate the factuality of each. Um, but they give synopsis as well. So it said at the Munich gathering, Rubio urged an alliance revival, emphasizing the need to face past mistakes and rebuild together. Amid recent U.S. Europe tensions, Rubio emphasized the need to revive the alliance, saying Washington seeks a stronger relationship to support global renewal. Pointing to a shared history, Rubio warned that Europe and the United States remain deeply connected and called on Europe to shoulder defense responsibilities. Now, what this tells me is Rubio, he's breaking away from the Trump train because Trump does not want us as being allies with anyone in Europe. He wants us to leave NATO. So this is interesting. And I find it really interesting that it wasn't JD Vance doing this after he just got fucking humiliated at the Olympics. But it was Rubio. Both of which, by the way, have denounced Trump before they were appointed. Just this entire regime needs to be jailed immediately. And honestly, and this is going to be a hot take, and not everyone's going to like it, but those who are falling silent, those elected politicians who are not properly representing the people against this regime, I'm not saying they should be jailed unless found doing illegal things, obviously. They should absolutely be fucking primaried and they should be impeached. One or the other. I prefer impeachment. But do the respectful thing. Learn when to fucking step down. And I'm talking to you, Booker. I'm talking to you, Jeffries. I'm talking to you, Schumer. Nancy Pelosi stepped the fuck down because she knew she wasn't going to fucking win. Guess what? It was better for America. The Sway, what's up? Welcome in. How you doing? How you doing? So that was interesting regarding Rubio because I do think, as I'm sure you guys do, that we should stay allies with Europe. It makes no fucking sense not to. Expectations are low for the latest U.S. brokered talks between Russia and Ukraine. Big surprise there. Grok faces more scrutiny over deepfakes as Irish regulator opens EU privacy investigation. So finally, these social media companies who have caused so much harm, and I mean, Grok has literally unclothed people under the age of 18. I have to be careful at how I say that, using AI. That's fucking crazy. That is fucking crazy. Is anything else going on? Guys, if there's nothing I haven't, or if there's something I haven't touched on that you guys would like to talk about, please put it in the comments. We've went over actually a shit ton of stuff. We were just on it today. But it's nice to see you all in here. I know we took a couple days off, but we are at 12,000. And I'm going to take just a little break with my bar. Give me 1 second. And to all of you, if any of you in here are celebrating Chinese New Year tomorrow, I hope you have wonderful celebrations. I cleaned my house today because I may not be Chinese, but you tell me I'm sweeping away fortune on the first. Or on Chinese New Year, I'm gonna clean the day before. We ain't risking it. Are you looking forward to going back to work tomorrow? Absolutely not. No. Friday, I got cussed out for absolutely no reason. I remained calm. But it's just like not an environment I want to go back to right now, but it is what it is. It's the year not just of the horse, but of the fire horse. So my Sagittarius rising is excited. I still had to work today. Yeah, I thought they were. So it's actually raining. It was literally flooding outside of my house because I live in San Diego where our infrastructure is not built for rain. Um, I thought the guys that were doing construction across the street were going to have the day off. I was surprised to know that that wasn't the case when they started doing work at 6:30 in the morning. Fran, thank you so much for the follow. And to everybody that had to work today, honestly, if it was a day honoring just one president, I would have fucking went to work myself. But I don't determine our days off, so that's kind of my company. Just a thing. As we know, there was another mass, you know what, today in Rhode Island. It unalived 3, including the suspect. And I want you guys to know, it's very important when we look at statistics, especially towards the end of the year, and really like the closer we get to midterms, because a lot of these things we hear about mass, you know, whatings every single day. What counts as a mass, you know what, is 3 or more have to be unalived, not including the suspect. So this does not count as a mass, you know what. I may say it's a mass, you know what. Per statistics, it's not. What happened to Charlie Kirk doesn't count. What happened, Luigi's incident, alleged, because they've had to drop a lot of things, including the DEATH penalty. Like the United CEO wasn't considered a mass one. So a lot of these like high profile cases, they don't get counted in that statistic. But that doesn't mean these you know whatings are not happening. And it's very important that we keep that at the forefront of our mind. Um, Another thing we need to keep at the forefront of our mind is primaries. We will have Democratic primaries this year, or not this year, right? Or is it next year? Correct me if I'm wrong. But when we have these presidential, well, I'm not talking about government, but presidential primaries, a lot of people, they're like, oh, just do Newsom and Kamala, do it. No, they're not getting my fucking vote, not for the primary. Now, if they're the ones that make it to the ticket and it's that and JD Vance, of course, I'm going to vote for them in a way of harm reduction. But in the primaries, they're not getting my motherfucking vote. It is this year. This year, guys. Thank you for reminding me. So start doing your research on possible candidates. But I live in California, and I love living in California. And a lot of people call me a radical leftist, even though I'll get the same people calling me a radical leftist as I will as people saying I'm moderate. I'm more policy in person over party, but Gavin Newsom, disrespectfully as fuck with your your little guests on your podcast being people like Charlie Kirk, being people like Steve Bannon, being people like Ben Shapiro. You're not getting my fucking vote. Not in the fucking primaries. You love Pete Buttigieg. I do like him. I don't think he's a perfect candidate, but I would rather vote for him over Gavin Newsom because I think Gavin Newsom is just like Trump, except he doesn't have to wear a diaper. He's more attractive and has a higher IQ. He's still an egomaniac. He's still power hungry as fuck. And regardless of these, oh, we're going to tax the billionaires thing, no, I still don't trust it. Let me see it happen. Because now in California, they're trying to, or I think they have implemented a driving tax. So you're literally for every mile you drive, and you have to, they can track that. Once it's time to renew for the DMV or whatever, you're taxed on that. That's fucking crazy. Who do I like, honestly? And she's polling at 85% approval right now. It was either 81 or 85%. That was by CBS News. If you want to look that up, I think that was on the 12th. They did that study. AOC. Now, here's the thing. I know a couple months ago I said, I don't think AOC is going to be the moment. That's because we hadn't seen people like Zoran Mamdani be elected yet. That's because we hadn't seen this rise in um, more of the, and I'm not saying she's totally grassroots, but she's more grassroots than most Democratic candidates. I would rather her over Kamala Harris. I would love to see AOC with Crockett. I don't know if Crockett's going to run though. Just because she's doing the Texas Senate race right now, that's a lot of funding she needs to secure, and you're just bouncing around. You know what I mean? I would love an AOC with Pete Buttigieg ticket. I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay with that. Jesus follower, hello, welcome in. Donovan, what's up? How we doing, guys? How we doing? We are at 15K. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'd be okay with AOC. And Pete. People are saying I'm Donnie. Let him prove himself as governor for or as governor as mayor first. Let's give him some time. Because you don't just want to throw someone on a ticket. That's the thing. You don't want to just throw someone on a ticket. I need to see actions that follow words and stay in alignment because we have not seen that from a lot of Democratic politicians, i.e., I'm sorry, but Kamala Harris, also Joe Biden, Obama, and AOC. Don't do that to that man. Don't make him be president again. I know what you're referring to, but like, don't do that. Nah, just nah. He's done his time. I think he will be the most popular president in modern day history. Maybe not in all, but in modern. Oh, you're talking Michelle. Michelle would not run for office. We've already talked about this. She hated that office so much. She did not want to be first lady. And I get that. Being first lady, I mean, we don't see it from Melania Trump, but it's a job in and of itself. It really is. Karen, what's up? Welcome in. It would be badass though. It would be badass. And when we did see that, I don't know if you guys saw, I think they were at a basketball game. There was a standing ovation and it introduced them at the same time. And I think a lot of that, like Obama stood up. I think Michelle should have stood up too because I'd be fucking applauding her as well. Because I was in school when she did the whole healthy lunches thing and I was kind of mad at it. But like as an adult, that's some of the only healthy food these kids, especially low income kids, are gonna fucking get. Michelle would not want Obama to run again. Now she already said it. She didn't want him to run the first or second time. So Melania is not the right one for first lady. You know what? I used to feel bad for Melania, truthfully. I really did. I thought she was in a situation that she never thought she would get herself in, and then she had time to leave that man and didn't. But now we're finding her also mentioned in you know what files, so maybe she did it for self-preservation, which doesn't make her any better. It makes her just as bad as him. But also, if you guys want to know about something egregious, we already know that Trump has been adjudicated as an essayer, E. Jean Carroll, and he sent out. You guys will have to look it up. But it was like a Valentine's Day. You know his little fishing donation emails. It mentioned E. Jean Carroll in them. I'm not saying he wrote that, but he is made whoever did, if it were not him, feel so emboldened to write that. It makes me fucking sick. Friend, I don't feel bad for her anymore. I used to at first. During the first presidency, I'm like, damn, this bitch does not want to be here. She had time to leave. She had 4 years she could have left and she didn't. So that's an active choice at that point. That is an active fucking choice. Let's see. Interesting. Trump says Guthrie kidnappers will face DEATH penalty if she is unalived. Trump slams Newsom over inappropriate California UK energy agreement. He always slams them. Whatever. They're two feathers or two wings of the same fucking bird, honestly. One just has to wear diapers and has a low IQ and possibly dementia, but that's all alleged. Massey says he's lost confidence in Pam Bondi after congressional hearing. Well, Thomas Massey, as much as I support what you've been doing with this bipartisan effort in the files, when the fuck did you ever have fucking confidence in this girl? I mean, this is the same Pam Bondi who couldn't convict Casey Anthony. This is the same Pam Bondi who got J.E. his sweetheart deal. How could you ever have confidence? You sound woke. In what way? In what way? He needs to be tested for. Well, see, the thing is he has. He has. Why do you think he had to have all those cognitive tests that he thought was an IQ test? And just so you know, and I do have a degree, a medical degree, people don't take cognitive tests at hospitals for a hobby or for fun. So if you're having to take multiple, that's probably not a good sign. It's also probably not a good sign that he was interviewed a couple weeks ago and he was talking about Trump was talking about his father and he just kind of kept hitting his head. He was like, "Yeah, my father had the and Caroline Lyon Levitt had to be like Alzheimer's." Probably not a good sign, but I'm not giving any type of medical diagnosis at all. Yeah, one of many. Lion ass Levitt. Yep. Mm. ICE and local police departments working together for more immigration arrests. Let's see. Let's see. Pentagon close to punishing. Oh, here we go. This is what I was telling you guys about earlier. The Pentagon is close to punishing Anthropic AI as supply chain risk over Claude's military use terms report. Secretary Hegseth is close to cutting business ties with Anthropic after contentious negotiations. After months of contentious negotiations, Anthropic sought safeguards to block mass surveillance of Americans and to prevent fully autonomous weapons, while the Pentagon insisted on using Claude for lawful purposes. It's not lawful if you're trying. First of all, ICE is for immigrations and customs enforcement. Why the fuck are they surveilling Americans' social medias? I wish I could leave this country until 2028. Well, as you guys know, that was my plan, and then I thought more about it, and I don't think it's a good idea. I think we need to be here for the fight. If I'm going to leave, I would rather it be after 2028 if nothing changes, personally. But I'm not the type to leave. I served this country, and I think I'm going to go down with the ship as bad as it gets, unfortunately. Let's see what else is happening. Let's see what else is happening. U.S. politics. Um, Sheriff Nano says no member of the Guthrie family is a suspect in the kidnapping. Bill Maher says that Trump spends time yelling at him over text. Well, we've seen the text, so we know that's true. Texas Republican Ken Paxton is stepping up his Senate bid against GOP Senator John Cornyn. Cornyn? I think that's how you say his last name. Wow. Anderson Cooper is leaving 60 Minutes. I wonder why. Barry Weiss. Ugh, can't stand Barry Weiss. And guys, when we get to 20K, which we are almost at, thank you guys so much. I will visit the geek again. Oh, I don't know if you guys heard about this, but a judge invoked George Orwell's 1984 in ordering restoration of Philadelphia slavery exhibit on Monday today. U.S. District Judge Cynthia Roof or Roofie, Rufe, not sure the pronunciation, not trying to cause any disrespect, issued a 40-page ruling and preliminary injunction ordering restoration of the president's house site and barring further changes. On Monday, the city of Philadelphia sued NPS Jessica Bowron and Doug Burgum over the removal of slavery exhibits following Donald Trump's orders. On January 22nd, the exhibit included 34 explanatory panels and footprints memorializing on a judge, with her saying, I had friends among the colored people of Philadelphia, had my things carried there beforehand, and left Washington's house while they were eating dinner. The judge found federal agencies exceeded their authority and ruled Philadelphia is likely to prevail, ordering mitigation to protect stored panels and exhibits while ensuring site security. Activists and officials tied the judge's order to a broader pattern of federal actions, including the removal of the slavery exhibit and restoration of Confederate monuments amid the upcoming 250th anniversary. This is what we really need to fucking talk about. Is we are seeing a rise in Schnazi propaganda, in YT supremacy phrases used by many hate groups. And there is something I want to show you guys. What's his? Hold on. I want you guys to get the whole picture. Jeremy Carl. So there's a Trump nominee who is in his hearings because he said some questionable things. And Senator Chris Murphy, who you're not familiar with, I'm actually like, he's pretty about it. I'm gonna play some stuff from that hearing for you real quick. Here we go. You don't speak about ethnic identity. You speak about white identity. So tell me the values that stitch together white identity and make it different. And the other speaker is going to be Jeremy Carl. Senator, again, thank you for a lot of time talking about this, writing about. Yeah, no. You're struggling with this, but you should be fairly easily, I would assume, able to tell us your thoughts on how white identity is different than other kinds of identity and how it's being erased. Senator, again, thank you for the question. I'm trying to be, I'm just trying to be very precise. So, because I'm here in front of the Senate committee. Give it 1 second, guys. It's only 2 minutes long. The white church is very different than the black church in terms of its tone and style on average. Foodways could often be different.
music can be different. If you look at the Super Bowl halftime show, which was not in English this year, our ability to access white churches or white food, white music is being erased. Senator, again, thank you for the question. What I would say is the biggest thing, because actually, contrary to many of the comments that have been shown, regional nationalists have been very, very critical of my work because they correctly say that I'm actually, of course, not a racial nationalist, which I'm not. I'm a civic nationalist. I am concerned with majority common American culture that we had for some time that through particularly mass immigration, I think has become much more balkanized, and I think that weakens us. And again, I'm not.
That shit's just crazy. He's No one's erasing white churches. No one's erasing white food, which white food a lot of people don't even realize is just from other countries than fucking selves. This shit is fucking crazy that it's even being allowed to be said, that these people are getting in front of, they're making it all the way, these appointees are making it all the way in front of Congress to say shit like that. Who the fuck is erasing white churches? Who the fuck is erasing white food? I guarantee you, if you would have asked him what he ate this week, 90% of it, 90% wouldn't have been white food. And also, white food, what the fuck does that even mean? He kept going. If you want to watch it, you can just Google Jeremy Carl, Chris Murphy hearing, and it'll pop up. It's all over YouTube. There's multiple different food or now I'm thinking about food, my fat ass. Exactly, what white food? Because he tried to later in the hearing bring up like, oh, he brought up Irish and Italian food. Well, first of all, Irish and Italian food, and I say this as an Irish Italian American, not at all similar at all. Italian obviously is, more Mediterranean. Irish is, more potato based. None of that is being erased. And here's the thing about equality that certain people seem to forget. Just because everyone has, it's not like fucking pie. If everyone has equality, it's not taken away from each other's equality. We just all share equality. I thought food was food too, but apparently not. Maybe it's corn dogs. Well, honestly, that would be, I mean, if you think about it, more German and then, so that's not, you know what I mean? Because he specifically said white. And Chris Murphy in his argument, I really encourage you guys to listen to it. It's about 5 minutes long. Kept having to say, like, no, this isn't about ethnicity. You specifically said white. That's not an ethnicity. Sorry. It's fucking not. And for people to say that like white churches are being erased because a fucking halftime show wasn't in English, but it was performed, mind you, by an American because Puerto Rico is an American territory. What the fuck? Also, that they did an investigation into the halftime show for God knows what reason. They obviously found nothing, and so they wasted even more taxpayer dollars. Yeah, isn't that just fucking phenomenal? Isn't that just fucking great? The shit that's going on right now, it's a lot. It's overwhelming. It would be potato salad with raisins. Probably, probably. People don't believe me when I tried to tell them that some white people put raisins in potato salad, which I already detest potato salad. It's fucking gross. Sorry if you like it. I don't. But when you put raisins in it, that is just a fucking abomination. We had someone on here try to say that they were an immigrant, but they were kind of advocating for American culture, kind of like this Jeremy Carl is as well. And they tried to say red beans and rice. That's not American. That's not American at all. Probably all of them. They're all hypocritical assholes. Yeah. Go into a Mexican restaurant. Well, there was. I don't know if you guys saw the article a couple weeks ago. It might have been a month or two by now. Time isn't linear anymore. This presidency has proved time is not linear. They literally sat their fat asses down in that fucking Mexican restaurant, ate, and then they fucking rated it. Yeah. Welcome to fucking America. It's ridiculous. And strawberry, I did see it over here. We've been talking about a lot. We've been talking about everything from good things like Private owners in Dallas denying to lease or sell a mega warehouse to Frozen Water. We've talked about a particular tweet that just rubbed me the fucking wrong way by Elon Musk talking about America needs a common culture and included English, Scots, and Irish when doesn't even know fucking American history because the Irish were not welcomed here peacefully at first. In no way did the Irish or the Italian. I don't want that compared to what um, the enslaved people had to deal with. It's not similar whatsoever, but there was prejudice, there was forms of segregation. But you know, all of those that I listed, whether that be indigenous people, whether that be German Americans, Asian Americans, Jewish Americans, Italian Americans, Irish Americans, Black Americans, notice what they all are. They are fucking Americans. So when times seem fucking scary right now, they all face common criticism. And it may not have been at a level, or some it was at a worse level. But to this day, they're still all Americans. And even the motherfucking South African immigrant who made that ignorant ass tweet is still an American. And you're not hearing me deny that. My aunt is a dual citizenship holder. Epstein is actually Israeli. I don't know if he's actually Israeli, but there's a lot of evidence pointing that he was an agent of Mossad, just like Ghislaine Maxwell's father. Just saying. Just saying. And guys, we do have about 8 minutes left on here. To be honest, some Americans don't even know English and proper grammar. I know, we've seen it today, Jolena. I mean, I've been criticized not using proper grammar with people by people not using proper grammar rather. And it's so ridiculous. It's so fucking ridiculous. And then I was the one called petty for pointing that out. Strange and illuminating. And I hope you guys screenshotted that. But at the end of the day, we're all fucking Americans. We are all in this together. And one thing I hope we can agree on is that politicians on both sides right now do not properly represent the American people. And with that, I say no taxation without proper fucking representation. Will be great when we deport that mutt, Elon. Well, speaking of deportations, I still got to look into this, and everything I say, YouTube and TikTok, is all alleged. But as we know, the files implicate Ghislaine Maxwell all the way back to 98. She didn't apply for citizenship until 2002 and was granted citizenship, right? And this actually goes back to my first little argument about common sense. She marked on there she had never committed a crime. Yet we now know that's not true, so why the fuck is she still a citizen? If DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, who doesn't know what habeas corpus is, and she said it was a constitutional right of the president to remove people from the country, why is Ghislaine Maxwell still in the country if that's the case? And what's so fucking ironic about the habeas corpus is the reason that Ghislaine Maxwell apparently pled the fifth in her most recent subpoena last Monday is because she has a pending filed habeas corpus in the state of New York. Yep. So monsters get to exercise their rights with thousands of victims. Monsters with thousands of fucking victims get more rights than most other Americans. Do you think Melania can be deported? There is a case for her deportation. I'm not saying if she can or can't, but she came here. I forget the exact visa type, but it's called it's like nickname is the Genius visa. And it's basically for people like Olympians, for like educational prodigies, to come to the US to benefit it. She's not a genius. She literally married Donald Trump. That proves that. And what else has she accomplished in her life besides marrying him, which is not an accomplishment? So who knows? And this isn't me being pro deportation. I just think if we have the standard for some, we should have it for all. Just like they're going to go round up anyone that doesn't look American to them, and they've deported many, many American citizens already. They've deported them. So why are we giving these fucking pedophilic monsters, why are we giving them their rights? Why the fuck don't we just round them up until they prove they're fucking innocent? Oh, that's right. Because our current administration, and that's left and right, they're all, besides a few, protecting those perpetrators. And we've seen that plain and simple. And guys, we're almost at 25,000. Thank you so much. I'll visit um the Geek Bar again. Sorry, I'm getting a little red, but that's what happens sometimes. And if you guys do see my eyes, I just restarted a medicine, and literally today. So if my pupils start getting big, like bigger and bigger and bigger, because I'm gonna have to titrate up on the dose, please know I'm not on any crazy type things. It's just my Wellbutrin. So be on the lookout, because I don't know if you guys remember when we first got started, I was on Wellbutrin and Effexor, and it made my pupils very, very dilated. And also the fact that I didn't have all these lights on me. It was kind of dark when I would live stream, which obviously it's gonna dilate your eyes. But people used to say I was on DRUGS, and they were all prescribed. So we're just gonna state that here and now. We're just gonna state that here and there. Thor, I saw you sneak in. Hello, hello. Sorry I haven't said hi to you yet. Let's go back over to ground news. We got about 4 minutes left on here, guys. We are at 25, so give me 1 second. But oh, go figure. Trump border czar dismisses Democratic demands to reform ICE. Who would have ever fucking thought that would happen? Maybe because Chuck Schumer doesn't even call them fucking demands. He says that we have common sense proposals. Make a fucking demand and have your actions follow it. And then you have people like Slingshot News that says Schumer puts his foot down, demands reform to rogue ICE. No, Schumer's just as fucking complicit. As far as I'm concerned, he's a fucking Republican at this point. Or not even a Republican, because Thomas Massey has done more for the American people than Chuck Schumer has. He's fucking MAGA at this point. Or MAGA complicit. Fuck it. I'm so fucking sick of Chuck Schumer. He needs to go. He needs to fucking go. The level of hypocrisy and cognitive dissonance that we have to face daily is crazy. Oh, this is not good. If you live in Washington, please be careful with your water, because a massive sewage spill into the Potomac River has occurred. What's in the water? What are the risks? What are the risks? Rise as ice melt? That doesn't even fucking make sense, but all right. So please be careful with your water, guys. Go stock up on filtered water, I suppose, since that's the fucking America we're living in. I mean, hi, we're Blue Moon. Before we get off, we actually have 2 minutes in here. Blue Moon. I haven't talked about Minnesota. I apologize. In this live, we have been packed with other things. Can you tell us a firsthand experience of what you were seeing in Minnesota? Because obviously the news is saying, oh, they're backing off. We know that's bullshit. We know ICE isn't backing off. Can you please tell us what you're seeing from the ground in Minneapolis? And if it takes you a couple minutes to write and we got to go a minute or two over, that's totally fine. You can't text it. How about this? How about this, Blue Moon? If you want, message me, and tomorrow on the live, we will talk about it. I do have to cut it at like around an hour. Ryan, the only reason I don't, and you guys know I have to hold this, I have to hold it for both sides, is if I can't let certain people up, I try not to let anyone up. But if you want to send me a message of it, even if it's like a voice recording, I'll take notes. And they've ramped up. Okay. We just try to keep the equal standards. But if you want to DM me what they're doing, even if you want to like speak into it, I'll make notes. And I promise you, if you want to catch us tomorrow at 5 p.m., same time as today, we will fucking talk about it. It'll be the first thing I talk about. But I do have medical conditions where you guys know I do have to kind of cap it at an hour. And if I don't let some people up, because we've had people come up and say the most outrageous things, I have to keep it a standard for all. But if you do want to do that, Blue Moon, I'm actually going to write down. Hold on. I'm going to give you a quick. There we go. I just gave you a quick follow really quick, so you can always find me if you need to. It's not that I want your story to not go through. I try to hold standards across the board. But guys, I appreciate you all so much. Times are hard, and I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think they're going to get any easier as midterms are approaching, as primary elections are approaching. But please look into your candidates, and don't just Just because you see a poll that maybe Gavin Newsom or someone is doing well, and you're like, oh, we need to just vote for him. No, primaries are where I feel we have the most power because we get the most options of candidates. I'm not voting in the primaries for Newsom. I'm not voting in the primaries for Harris. I'm sorry, I'm not. Um, that's not who I want. They don't align with me. But if they are on the ticket for the actual presidential election in 2028, obviously, if it's them versus fucking JD Vance, I'm gonna vote them all day, every day. But I do love you guys so much. I hope you all have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Mountain. I'll see you guys then. Bye. All right, YouTube, that's it for us as well. Thanks for hanging out. We'll come back tomorrow. Hopefully Blue Moon, she did just share a video. So hopefully, not hopefully, I will go over that tomorrow. Um, I just I hate that all this is happening, but we have community in each other. And the next time you guys, if you are ever feeling lonely, pop on these lives. We're a community. This isn't about a grift or getting rich and famous. I encourage us all to follow each other so we can always stay in connection. Because who knows, with people like Google Meta